your clients?
Honestly, I don't. I do
Not a monthly newsletter per se, but
yeah,
you do different things.
I send stuff in the mail.
Yeah.
I send stuff all different ways.
Yeah, I know you do a lot of Tony does a lot of hand delivered things, handwritten cards, which is really nice also.
Yeah.
And makes a big impact when you handwrite a card and send it to somebody or send them something that made them you think of them or something like that. But today we're going to talk about newsletters because you can make a pretty good impact on a lot of clients with one kind of sitting down and working on it for one section of time, and then you've hit all of your database. So
it's called autoflow, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got to be able to stay in front of them somehow.
Yeah. And some things take more time, like the handwritten notes, but this is meant to make a big impact on a lot of people with less effort. And we're always talking about how we can touch our clients as much as possible throughout the year, remind them that we're still doing this, because I think sometimes people just forget, and especially with real estate agents, they think we do this part-time when a lot of us do it full-time. And so we want to be in front of them full-time, reminding them that. So that's why we're going to work on newsletters today.
Sounds good. Go get 'em.
Okay, we had a few more people. We got Frank join us. Awesome. Okay, now I do want to mention that today I'm going to be moving through this at a pretty brisk pace, just because otherwise we could be here for a really long time, and I don't want to keep you guys too long, and this is being recorded. So if you want to just kind of like watch along as I'm going through this, and then you could go back and watch the recording later if you want to do it on your own at your computer. Otherwise, if you're pretty handy with your computer, or maybe you've done this before but you just wanted to see how I do it or a different way of doing it, then you can follow along if you'd like, and just kind of listen and check in on the screen and see how I'm moving through it. But if you're gonna do it along with me, I don't know if we'll be able to like stop a lot, and if you're having like a technical problem. We're all on different systems, obviously. Some of you know that I use a Mac, some of you use PCs, so some things are going to look a little bit different. But just kind of take it all in, and then since this is being recorded, you can come back and look at it later. You can just write notes, whatever works for you. Okay, so we're going to get started sharing my screen here. We all know that the first place we need to start is logging into your one login. So hopefully we all don't have any trouble doing that at this point. Today we are going to be using OneSuite to work on this project. The reason we're using OneSuite is because it's your CRM, and hopefully you have many contacts loaded into your CRM. That's the beauty of this. Whoever you have loaded in there, you can send this to your entire contact list. You can make groups in OneSuite. If you only want to send the newsletter to a certain group of people, you can do that as well. But if you don't have anybody in your OneSuite, this isn't really going to be very beneficial to you, because we're going to be using the OneSuite CRM to create this newsletter. So I'm going to go ahead and log into my OneSuite. And I'm probably going to have to keep switching between what I'm presenting here. So just please bear with me. Okay. Now we're in OneSuite. Okay. The first thing I want everybody to do when they start working on this, or if you want to just take a look at it right now, is I want everybody to check their profile in OneSuite, because a lot of the things that we're going to put into the newsletter are going to project what you have loaded into your profile. So let's click on profile. and just kind of see that there's a lot of information here that gets presented on your website in these letters that you're creating. You just want to make sure it's all correct and up to date. Okay, you can see you've got your featured communities. This is part of your website. You can change that on your website, but you can also change it here. If you don't want all of these communities, if you want to add different ones, you can do that here. Some of this is like behind the scenes kinds of things that we cannot really change. Like they'll be grayed out here because they don't want you messing with any of that here. This is not the place to change those things. You have your bio that goes on a lot of our websites. If you want a different bio on your OneSuite website than the one that you have in Zone, then you can override that by creating a different bio here. You need to add your languages. Those of us that speak more than one language, please tell everybody that, because people do search for agents based on languages spoken. And if you're not telling people that you speak another language, how are they going to know to call you? Got a lot of things down here I can't change. Some of us have certain designations, certifications that we want to tell the world about. Okay, this is one I really wanted to point out, the social media links. If you participate in social media, if you have profiles in social media, please make sure that they're in here. Now, they are grayed out here. You have to change your social media links in Zone. Remember, Zone is kind of like the head, the heart of your job here at Realty One. And if you need to change anything about your email address, your phone number, your mailing address, your social media links, you need to go to Zone to do that. So that's why they're grayed out here. But make sure, I just wanted everybody to come in here and check and see, like, what does OneSuite know about me? Is there a lot of information missing that I need to update? So before we create anything that's going to have some of this stuff in it, I just wanted everybody to think about making sure their profile is as complete as possible. Okay. Now, the next thing we're going to do is talk about your like two best options here with Realty One to send out newsletters. Using OneSuite, we use the drip campaign letters. You've got a drip campaign center over here, but specifically we use the letters because letter is just a one-time delivery. Even though we do this every month, we have to go in there and change it every month. So we're just sending it out once a month. If you are creating a drip campaign, which is a scheduled list of emails that has a schedule that goes out on the first day, the 5th day, the 8th day, the 10th day, that would be a drip campaign. But every month we come in here and do the newsletter, so it's just a letter, technically. Now, myself and Logan work every month to create a newsletter for everybody to use. This is going to be your easiest way to send out a newsletter every month. I'm going to show you two ways today, either using the one that we create that's already in here for you, or coming in and creating your own from scratch because maybe you want to include some different things, or you just want to build your own every month, or you want to create your own template and then use that every month. We're going to go over that as well. But first, we're going to do the easy way, which is just using the one that's already here for you. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So first thing we're going to do is click on drip campaign letters. And those here, like if I ever am not on the right screen, let me know. Okay, because some of these stay in the same window, but then it switches the window. So I just want to make sure I'm showing everybody the right thing. Okay, so here you can see up at the top, just to orient ourselves here with the letters, you've got several different options. You've got company letters. So these are letters that are created by your firm, your broker in charge or leadership team. These are letters created by us or Realty ONE Group Corporate. So these are not your personal letters. These are letters that are available to the entire firm, whether they came from corporate or whether myself or Logan or Andrea or Amanda or Taylor made something for you guys, it would be listed here under company letters. Also listed under company letters are all of the drip campaign letters. So if you're trying to put together a drip campaign, this is where you would come to look at what are my options already existing for letters to create a drip campaign. But it's also where we put these newsletters. So they're all listed here in letters. If you want to look at what something looks like, you would just click on the little eyeball. Now, this is a preview, so it's not exactly how it looks when it comes to your email. It looks a little bit nicer. It has like a frame around it with a color, and we work on that each month to try and make it look nice. This is kind of abbreviated, but it does come in this like up and down, scroll from top to bottom format. So this is the most recent newsletter. If you haven't sent out a December newsletter, it's still December, so you can do so today after you follow along and see how easy it is. But this is a preview, so that's just so you can see what it looks like. And of course, you could look at past newsletters, and that's just so you can see what the letter looks like. Now, in order to send these letters out from your CRM, from your OneSuite, what we've got to do is we've got to take the letter and move it over to agent letters. So agent letters are letters that belong just personally to you. They are things that you've created in your OneSuite. So nobody else can see these things. They're just private to you. But you can copy letters from company letters over into agent letters, and then you can do whatever you want with them. You can change them. You can email them out that way. It's whatever you want to do. So company letters versus agent letters. In order to get this company letter over to your agent letters, all you have to do is click on this little box right here, check it off, and then you're going to click on copy. Okay, so then it's going to bring up this window. Now, what I do when I'm copying it over from company letters to personal, my agent letters, I name it December newsletter from Allison Grant. Now, subject line, now description is just kind of like a personal thing for you. Nobody's going to see that when you send out the letter. That's just like when you're looking through these letters 10 years from now, which letter was this? You read a description for it. I never fill that part out because this name up at the top is enough for me to know what it is. The subject line is important though, because this is what people are going to see when they receive your newsletter. So we just generically name it, December real estate news. You could change yours to stay December real estate update from Allison Grant, or whatever you'd like for it to say. But this is what your client is going to see in their inbox. There's also a cool little tool over here where you can add the recipient's name if you would like to. So if you have your CRM all set up with people's first names written in the first name box, you can click on that little button right there, and it will say, you'd have to put the word for so it made sense. It will say December real estate update from Allison Grant for Susie Smith or whoever is receiving that letter. So you don't want to mess with the little code that they've put in here after you click that. I don't usually include this because it just makes the subject line get too long sometimes. So I don't add that, but you can if you'd like to. That's what that little drop down is for. And then what we're going to do next is we're going to actually go in and update the newsletter so that it reflects your information versus my information or Logan's information or whomever's information was in the company letter, because we have to change it to you. But sometimes, just to be safe, I do like to go ahead and save this and close it, because I'm going to show you that in just a second. The reason I do that is just because, like, if I have to walk away or, you know, something gets pinwheely and I have to close out of it, I don't want to lose a lot of work that I've done on the newsletter. So I just go ahead and save it a few times along the way just to be on the safe side. But here's the letter I just copied over from company letters. So now it's at the top of my agent letters. So now I'm going to go in here and start doing some more updating. So I have to go to the little edit button. And now, see, I've already made those changes up at the top. I'm going to go into the modern editor. Okay, so now we're in the place where we can make changes. And the way that this is laid out, and I'm going to go into this a little bit more when we create a newsletter from scratch, but this is, if you've ever had a position where you needed to create your own website or blog page or something like that, this is the same kind of tool that you use to do that. And what it is all of these options, these what they call blocks over here on the left-hand side, that you're able to pull over to this area over here and build what you want it to look like. So if you want the first part of your, newsletter to just be a title, you would just pull over this section title. If you wanted the first part of your newsletter to be a picture with no text, you would just pull over, you would add this block that's just a picture. So I'm going to go through that a little bit more when we build one from scratch. But for now, again, we're going the easy route first. We're keeping it the way that the company created it for you, and we're just making the changes that we need to make in order to send it out to our sphere. So obviously, we need to change the picture, okay? You've already got the placeholder for the picture, and you're just going to swap in one of your pictures. Now, I will warn you with this system, if you have professional headshots from, professional photographer, the file size of those is going to be too large for this system to handle. So what you need to do to basically any photos you upload into here is just make sure they're like the small file size, the lower quality. Have you guys run into that? Is that what you're laughing about? Because you're like, yeah, that's happened to me. Every time I've tried to put a picture, it says image exceeds, file allowable limit. So just make sure you're using not the super top quality pictures to put in here. Now, and anytime you want to change anything over here, you have to click on it and you see it kind of highlights it. And then it's going to start giving me choices over here on the left-hand side of what I want to do with that block. So for this block, I want to change the picture. So I have to go right here to Image Browser. Now, this is where you're going to have these things, saved in a certain organizational way on your computer so you can get to them when you need them. I have a headshots folder on my computer. So anytime I'm making something and I need to put in a headshot, I go to that folder. I believe for today, what I did, oh yeah, I'll change it. I'll go to my desktop. You guys probably can't see this. Oh, you can. Yeah, there's my headshots folder. So I'm going to change it to a different picture just for the sake of doing that. Okay, changed my picture. Now, hopefully you would have changed it to your picture. For the text over here, so this is pretty basic. It's just my information. But if you guys wanted to change this to a little paragraph about something you want to share with your clients about the season, the market, the holidays, whatever it is you want to type in this area, you can type it. Or you can just change your information to be reflected here instead of my information. Again, to keep it simple. And something cool I'm going to show you when we create the newsletter from scratch is there is an AI generate content button here. So if you don't want to think of a paragraph to type here, you can simply ask AI to create something for you, you know, here at the top. We'll do that in the next phase. But for now, you would just literally come in here and change it to be your information. You can type in here, you can delete, you can take away, whatever you want. For the website down here where it says Allison's website, so that is a link and it goes to my website. If you do not want this link, you can delete this whole section here, or you can highlight it and go up here to where it says, this is, it doesn't say it. Well, it does if you sit there for a bit, but that's a link. So that's how you change text to go to a specific place. And you click on that little link. It does look like a link. It looks like a chain. So the text I have displayed there is Allison's website. This link is for a URL. You can also link to an email, like pop up an email. I think those would be the only two you would choose. And it's https:// and then that's my URL for my website. Now, all you would need to do is come in here and change the text to, because she's sitting right here, I'm going to change it to Angela.
I did mine, but I don't know if it's working.
Oh, that's where the test email is going to come into play. Yeah, you can't really test it here. You have to actually send it to yourself and test all the links and make sure they're working. Okay. And then I would need to change these words here to Angela Lopez. Okay. So hopefully now that link is all fixed up. When I click on it, it'll go to Angela's website.
Right click it or
did I right click it?
Or did you do it over to the left?
Here?
Yeah.
This up here? I'm just clicking on it and then that pops up. Does that not pop up for you guys?
It did. And so where was the one that had the URL and it said?
You have to click this link. So this is where you modify the link. See the little chain?
Oh,
I know this is small, guys. I don't know how to make it bigger. And that's where it asks you to change where it's going to go.
So I had changed it on the left, but I didn't change it here. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. Yeah, I definitely recommend after you manipulate all this stuff that you send yourself a test email and check all the links to make sure they're not going to my website or Logan's website or Angela's website. You want to make sure it's all going to you.
And then I can save and then go back in.
Yes, of course. Yes. Okay, so also here, so you see we've got a button here that says visit website. Okay, so over here on the left, it gives you some choices for that button, but you can't see right here where it asks you where you want that button to go. In order to tell this button where to go, you have to click all components in block. So that means now it's going to show you all your choices for that little button. There's a lot of choices. You could change the background color. You can change how big the font is on the button. Let's make it bigger. There we go. But here is where you need to actually change what website it goes to, which is going to be your website. So I'm going to change it to Angela's. Sorry, Angela, I'm using you.
Okay.
And you do have to click OK. If you don't click OK, it's not going to update the link. And see up here, it says URL updated. Yay. Also, this picture has a link as well. The picture has a link. See, when I clicked on block image, it says AllisonGrant.myrealty1group.com.
So I changed it in. I changed that.
You changed that, but not the.
I changed it in the picture.
Yeah, there's like 3 places up here you have to change it if you're keeping all of this text and everything. Press OK. Okay, I've got that section all fixed up. And that was really most of the work that we had to do here. because this is where a lot of your personal information is. So you just got to make sure it's all going to you, not to somebody else. But here, this section, this block is all just links to, like, this is a link to Charlotte's Got a Lot, which is always constantly updating events that are happening in Charlotte and around Charlotte. This is a link to a article that your clients might be interested in reading. It has nothing to do with me or Logan or anything. It's just going to take them to the article. So you don't have to change anything here unless you just don't like the article. Then you'd have to go in here and change the links to the article that you would like. You'd obviously have to change the text. You'd have to rewrite something down here. But for the sake of making it easy, just leave that all the same if you're okay with it. And then we do create a chart every month that we use MLS to make the chart. And we pick some kind of data point that we want to talk about that month. And we link all of this to the chart. It's going to take the people to the chart. Again, you don't have to change any of this unless you just don't like any of it. And if you don't like any of it, then I suggest you build your own newsletter like I'm going to show you in a few minutes. Also, like, if you don't like this color in the background, like let's say you're just not feeling this green back here, you can click on this global tab. Global means like it's going to apply this to kind of the whole letter. If you don't like the green, you can just click on this background color and say, well, like, I'm feeling like I want this to be, I don't know, blue. And then it'll change the whole thing blue. So it is very customizable. You just need to figure out where to go to change all the little things about this. I think that's the hardest part of this, is just like, where do I go to change that thing? So it's these three sections here: blocks, style, and global. If you're using the newsletter that Logan and I created, you don't really need to mess with this blocks section at all. It's really just changing the style of each section. Or if you want to change the whole like overall look, you could come here and do that. But now I don't really like that. So I got to change it back to green. Okay. Because all my buttons are green and everything. Because button background color you can change as well. All right. Now, for the section on the listings, what is cool is that this system does connect, to our MLS. You can include MLS numbers and it'll pull in all the pictures and everything. But the one problem here is if you keep this the same, like you don't change any of this down here, it's going to go to whoever created this newsletter. So if Logan put this listing in here, it's going to say it's going to go to Logan's website. And I don't think you really want that. If you're sending this out and people are clicking and be like, oh, look at Wendy's listing. And they click on, what they think is Wendy's listing, which is what we want them to think. But then it goes to Logan's website. That's going to not be good. Okay, so you need to click on the picture, come over here to the little website thing. This one I'm going to put Wendy. I don't know if you can see that, Wendy. Did I spell your website name right? Is it Wendy Valencia?
With a knife. WENDI.
Yeah, that's what I did. I know you can't see it from back there. It's so small. I don't know how to make this bigger, honestly, guys. Some platforms have that magnifying glass where you can make things bigger, but not this one. So now I've changed that URL. So now when people click on this picture, it's going to go to Wendy's website. It's going to look like it's Wendy's listing. If I wanted to change this listing altogether, I could click on property up here. And it's not gonna, it is showing you guys that. I can pick a different property. I'm picking, I think this is Christina Konos, yeah. Oh, really? Okay. Back to One Suite. Now can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
We only saw that page.
Okay. You just get the MLS number, search it up in here, say that's what you want.
So you gotta change it 3 response and then also the button.
Well, this was just, I'm just saying if you want to change the listing. If you don't want to change the listing, all you need to do is change the block image URL.
Right. You have to change the URL and also the URL in the text.
Well, in the button where it says visit website. So I had to click on all components in the block button, and I have to change that to say Wendy as well.
We have to do the link part again.
No, there's no link in this text here.
There's no, oh.
Yeah,
So it's just the button part.
the only part in the newsletter that right now has that link was up here in the information section. So, yes.
Is it okay if we change the MLS, the property,
Mhm.
with the properties we have under contract, if
Mhm.
we are the buyer's agent or the listing agent?
So that's a great question. If you are the buyer's agent and the property is under a different firm, it's not going to let you put it in here because we're only allowed to share firm listings here.
So it does let me put it in, but I'm not allowed to share it. If I just did.
Oh, it lets you pull a listing from another firm? I didn't think it did that.
Like email permission.
Yeah, you should get permission from the listing agent to advertise that listing.
On the contract.
And I would put in the text, I would add, because you can add to this text, I would say representing the buyer
Okay.
or something like that, so that the public knows that that's not your listing.
You just have like written
Yeah,
confirmation.
yeah. I didn't know it let you do that. I didn't know it let you pull in firm listings. No, but that's a good idea because you can advertise like, oh, I'm working with all these buyers. We've got this under contract. So if it lets you do that, great. I know it won't let you, like, I don't know what I'm thinking of. Maybe when you're doing, like, I know I've tried to set up open house sign-in forms, but it won't let me pull over a listing if it's coming soon. It has to be active. I don't know. There's some limitations, and I thought that was one of them, but I guess not.
So
But you do, and like I just did with this one, when I pulled in Scotch Pine Lane, when I use the MLS, it's going to update everything to reflect my information now. So I don't need to go in and change all that's honestly a good way to avoid having to change all those links. Like just change the properties to something else.
Okay, and then so what MLS was that one? I just put Scotch Pine.
You can look it by address. Yeah, you can do the address. Like I'll look up. It needs the number.
Okay, I got it. It's doing it. Yeah.
Okay.
What? That is so cool. Oh my gosh.
So again, if you want to keep these listings, just make sure you change the URL for the picture and the URL for the button. And then you'll be good to go.
Should have what is in block, and then I can just check. Yep, it has mine. Yep, and it changed it to mine. Okay. Awesome.
So I know that took us like 20 minutes to talk about, but once you get used to coming in here and making those changes, it really is only going to take you like 6, 7, 8 minutes maybe to change the information at the top, update the picture, leave this alone, pick 3 new listings, or just simply update the URL for the photo and the button on these 3 listings. Now down here where it says agent email signature, I know it just says agent email signature. And even when you look at a preview of this, which annoys me, it still just says agent email signature. I promise when you send this to your clients, they will see your email signature. I do not know why it can't like push it in this preview, but they will see it.
Profile section.
Yes, in the profile section. And what I did there was I just literally like copied and pasted in what I wanted it to look like. Yeah. Now, another thing I do want to point out, let me close this preview. Like Logan includes this little blurb here about, you know, having agents come to the company. But if you don't want that part here, or if you don't want, there's like certain sections that you don't want here, like let's say you only wanted to have 2 listings or 1 listing, you can delete entire blocks from this. So like right here, if I didn't want this whole section, I could just throw that in the trash can. So did you see how I did that?
If you put the picture, it takes the whole thing.
Yeah, just click on the picture and then above that there's those little black buttons
Love it.
and you can just throw that in the trash can.
How simple is that?
Now that might be something like Logan and I might want to have in our newsletter, but you might not want that, so you can just get rid of it. And I think we've got this all updated. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to push preview and I'm going to send myself a test email.
Oh, no.
Close preview. Now you guys, I'm probably going to have to change my thing here so you can see my emails, I guess. Then something else. I don't know if I can present my emails. Oh, I think I can. Ignore. Okay. Let's see if I got the email. Oh, I did.
And so where's the send test email? Is that where the share is?
Where preview is?
Are you in the same editing?
Yeah, don't leave the editing area. It's a box up in the right hand. Okay, so now when I get here, I'm going to test everything out. So I'm going to click on Angela's website. Let's see if it goes to Angela's website. Yay, that worked.
Okay, I'm in preview and I don't have anything else, so then do I just wonder? Like,
I'm going to click on the house picture to see if it goes to my website.
Oh, and then preview that way.
Yeah. So that all seems to be working and looking. Now, another annoying thing is even though I sent myself a test email, it still says agent email signature. I promise, when you send this to your clients, your email signature will be there. I do not know why it does not put it in here when you send it to yourself or when you send a test email. But when you send the actual email, they will see your email signature. I promise. I had a whole back and forth with the technical people about this, and they couldn't explain why it was like that, but that's just the way it is. Okay, back to OneSuite. Any questions from anybody watching about that? Anybody done this before, been successful, had problems,
So
thinks it's too hard?
So with the test email,
It'll come to you. It says like,
customer care.
Yeah,
And then it says strip letter preview. Yeah. I'm not sure I like how this looks. I just have to figure that out.
okay. The next thing I want to show you guys is if you don't want to use that newsletter and you want to make one that looks different, I'm going to show you how to do that. But the first thing I need to do is switch to, now you guys see in that letter how I have that picture at the top that says December and it's like cute in the background. So I had to make that somewhere. I had to create that. And you can create that yourself in Creative Design Studio. So I'm going to show you how to make something like that so that you could really customize your newsletter. And heck, you could put your picture on top of the picture. You could add different text on there, like whatever you want to do. You can do that in Creative Design Studio. So I'm going to get into Creative Design Studio for a few moments to show you how to do that. And tell me when I'm not showing the right thing. I'm going to present something else. I'm going to present this. Okay, so I'm in my Creative Design Studio right now. Now we always talk about how great it is because it has all the marketing materials and the templates, which make things easier. But if you need to create something like literally from a blank slate, you can do that in here as well, which many people do in, Canva. Like, I need a poster for my classroom. So they go in Canva and get a blank slate and then find all the stuff they want to put on the poster. You can do that in here too. Oh no, my mouse looks, oh, I'm doing something weird. Hold on. Why is my mouse like that? Stop annotating. Jeez, I don't want to annotate. Oh, that's why it's not working. I gotta get over here. Okay, so if you're looking for the blank templates, come into your Creative Design Studio and type in the search bar blank. Now, I have a lot of choices for these blank templates, blank different sizes, depending on what you want to use it for. So this one's like customized to be a social media tile. This one's customized to be like an 8 by 11.5 flyer. What I found when I was playing around with this, that for the newsletter application, this was probably the best one. Blank presentation. Now it does have 3 pages because it's wanting you to create a presentation, but I'm going to show you how to delete the other pages and just use one. I got to move this guy around. Okay, so I only want one of these. I'm going to delete. If you click over here on the pages, you can delete. This goes for as well as if you're, customizing the listing presentation. It's like 37 pages long. You don't need 37 pages. So come over here to the right and just like delete the pages you don't need. Okay. So now I have one nice white box. Okay. Now let's say I'm making the January newsletter. So I would come in here, get my blank box, and I'm going to look for a picture that I think will look good on the top of my January newsletter. So in order to do that, you're going to come over here to uploads, and you can use this little tool here to search for any kind of picture that you want to put there. I'm going to search, I'm just going to put in January. Oh, look at all these choices. I just put in the word January. And it gave me all these like frosty January pictures. So I pick which one I like. Ooh. This one looks kind of good. So I just click on it. Takes a minute. Now it doesn't come over the best size, but you can make this bigger. That looks pretty wintry. Not here, but maybe in the mountains. I don't know. Okay, so now I've got like a background, and what I want to do is add some text to this background. Maybe I want to even like make the text have a like a backdrop to it. So in order to do that, I'm going to go over here to shapes. I'm going to find a shape. If you want to put text inside of a shape, make sure you choose a solid shape. It's going to look better that way. I kind of like this kind of weird shaped one. So just clicked on that. I could make it bigger. I could make it smaller if I think it's too big. It's not bad. And then if I want to change the color of that shape, I click on the shape, come up here to the colors. I want to find a more December-like color. Yeah, so just click in here. Maybe, no, that's too purple. It's kind of icy. Okay, I'll go with that. Okay, so I got my shape, I got my background. So now I need to add some text. So over here on the left-hand side, I'm going to type January real. Now this, because I'm doing this in Creative Design Studio, I can really customize it to myself. I can put my name, I can put heck, whatever I want in here. Real estate news. You just simply type it, click add, it's going to bring it over. Of course, it's tiny. I'm going to make that way bigger. You guys with me? Kind of. Like I said, you can watch this later and come back and do this later. You don't have to do it right now. I want this all so much bigger. Even bigger. Okay.
I'm just trying to see if we have that on Apple. Maybe it'll be bigger.
What's wrong? Okay. I'm going to change the color of that text to blue. Oh, I'm making it blue. And then I'm also going to change the font. I don't really like that. That's kind of cool. Okay. Then I'm going to do one more text box to put my name. So it's made me a new text box. And I'm going to pick a different font. I love the cursive font for when it's your name. I don't know how anybody else feels about that, but I like it. Okay. Well, I just did this quickly, and this is what I came up with. But again, it's all very customized to however you want to do it. Okay, so I'm going to save this now. I'm going to rename it to January newsletter header, I guess is what I'm going to call that. And then I'm going to download this to my computer. Now, remember how I said that OneSuite does not like files that are too large. So it's not going to let me upload this into my newsletter if it's too large. So I'm going to choose to save this as a JPEG. And I'm going to do a lower quality. And hopefully that's going to do it for me. I'm just going to download that. Processing. Okay. So now I've got an image for the top of my custom newsletter. Okay, I'm going to go back to OneSuite now. Okay. So I'm still in this newsletter that we worked on before, so I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to save this. Save and close. Oh, and before I make the new newsletter, I'll show you guys really quickly, just remind you how to send this one that we updated. So the December newsletter from Angela, Allison, Wendy, Lorena, whoever's sending it, I'm going to click on my little email icon. I'm going to choose to send it to all of my contacts because I just send this to everybody in my whole entire list. I don't care if they live in California or Florida or Costa Rica. They're all getting it. So make sure you switch it to all contacts if that's what you'd like. Obviously, you've checked it. You've checked all your links. You're making sure it looks good. And if you want to schedule this, like send it a different day. Let's say you're working on it on December 30th, but you don't want it obviously to go out until January 2nd. You could schedule it to go out any day you choose. The only problem with the scheduling is you do not get to pick the time that it goes out. occasionally when I've done that, it comes to people at like 1 a.m. So I don't know if you want it in their, email inbox at 1 a.m. So I just usually don't do this until I'm ready to send it out right away. And then I would just click send and close, and it would send it to everybody. Okay. All right. Now I'm going to make a brand new newsletter. And I'm not going to make like a whole big long one. I'm just going to kind of show you guys how you can do this yourself. And you could make a shorter newsletter. You could make a longer newsletter. It could look similar to the one we create, but maybe because you're making it, you feel like you have more control over it and you could be a little bit more creative. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stay here in agent letters. And instead of like copying over from company letters, I'm going to create a whole new letter. So I'm going to click the button new. I'm going to name it January newsletter. That does not go to your client. This is how I like to name mine. That's in the subject line. Okay. Now, you have two options here for creating the newsletter. Remember, we were in the modern editor. There's also an option called classic editor. And you guys can go in there and play around with that if you want to. It's the old system that they used to have before we got the new modern editor, which I think is a lot easier. Hello, Logan. But modern editor is the one where you bring the blocks over just like we did previously. So I'm going to click on that one. Okay, now see, this looks different because I don't have anything over here. I'm going to have to build it out. And this is where I get to pick the blocks that I want to add over here. So if you want that similar style, like just the picture at the top, you'll scroll through here and you'll see, okay, this one has a picture, but it's kind of small. This one's kind of small. And I mean, this does give you a good idea of like how big the picture is going to be once you put it in there. So these do mean something, like the size of these, I don't know, placeholders, I guess I'll call them. So there isn't one that's just a big picture. So what I use for the newsletter is I use this block, but I'm going to manipulate the block so that it doesn't have a heading and it doesn't have any text and it doesn't have a button. The way that I do that is by clicking on the block, clicking on style, opening all components in the block, and clicking on show hide components in the block. And here you can turn things on and off. Like if I don't want the heading, I turn that off. If I want to keep the picture. If I don't want the text, I can turn that off if I don't want the button. So again, it's all really customizable. If you don't see a block over here that you like, pick the block that's the closest to what you want and then get rid of the stuff you don't want. Okay. So I've got that block for my picture. Then underneath that, I think I'm going to put just like, oh, I do like the one with your photo though. So which one? So I like this block because I can put a picture here. I could get rid of that button if I don't want it, but I can put some text. So I'm going to add that block over there. So now I'm building it. It's starting to look a little bit better. Now I get choices to put in listings there, but I usually, again, I'm going back to my old ways of the other newsletter, but I like to put the listings at the bottom. You could put your listings like Wendy, if you wanted to like really highlight your current listings or under contracts, you could put the listing block here, like right underneath your little picture and maybe your blurb that you're going to write. Now this listing block option doesn't have like as much detail as this one here that we were using, but if you're just trying to keep your newsletter like a little bit more short and sweet, that might be a better option. You could even add another one of these underneath it if you wanted to have 4. It's totally up to you. And then maybe I might want to do, oh, I like this block because sometimes what I do with that one is I put the, on our websites, we have the place where people can find their home value by putting in their address. So you can bring that into this block here and just have people like, oh, they get your newsletter and they're like, oh, what is my home worth? And they just put their address in there. It takes them to your website. You start collecting the information. You're capturing their information by putting like a call to action like that in your newsletter. The first month I put that in there, somebody filled it out and I reached out to
Can I
them.
put that into mine?
Yeah.
Like
I mean,
the
you've
one
got to
right
build the
now?
blocks first, which is what we're doing. We're
But can I
building.
add a block to where I took out a block in the one I already have?
Yeah, of course.
So, okay.
And look here, Angela, like let's say these blocks didn't come in the order that I want them to. If you click on each one, you can move them up. I can move that, you know, this one up. I could switch them around. I can click this little move thing here. If I click the move thing, then I can like grab it and move it around.
So if I'm in blocks, the one with what's your home worth, will that be in there?
No, you have to put it in there. So these blocks are all blank until I start adding pictures, links. So that's why this kind of newsletter is going to take a little bit more time to build out. But once you've done it once, you'll still have it. You can
Right,
copy it
and paste it.
and just change things from month to month.
Okay, so I can just do this, add the 195, 121 at the bottom. I can
Yeah,
add that
I put
one.
that one. That was the one I want to use for my picture because I want my picture near the top. Or you could want your picture near the bottom. It's just depends on what you want. Let me go back to blocks. Again, yours doesn't have to look like mine. Every time I click add, it's going to just add it to the bottom. So then I got each email signature. Then I'm going to do social media icons so people can go to my social medias. Okay, so I've kind of like built a framework here. All right. Your framework can be different from mine. I will show you how to add the home value doodad thing in there. Okay. Is that going to be the best block for that?
Oh my God, so I guess.
I think I might use this block. Let me use this one because it has the button already. And the button is what people can click. Let me add that one in there. Move this one up. And then I'm going to get rid of this one. Okay. All right. Let's get to making it look good. So I'm going to click up here. Now remember that cute little picture that I made for the top. There it is. Oh no, it's too big. 1 second, please. I have to save this at a lower quality. Sorry, guys. Give me a second. Yeah, it really is very particular about the quality of the images. It'll still look okay. It just, let's see if this one's better. Ooh, that looks like it's the same. I know what I probably need to do. Oh, it worked. Okay. Okay. Low quality images it likes. Now that I'm looking at it, should have probably made the words a little bit bigger, but you know, when you're doing this for yourself, you can go back and plug and play and change things. Okay, for this block, I'm going to put my picture. Now you're never going to have to change any of the like links and stuff now because you're building this yourself. So you're not having to go back and like undo another person's stuff. My picture, put that in there. Oh, and this, I want to show you guys this cool thing that I figured out the other day. You can just use AI to write something interesting in here for your newsletter. So where the text is, you just click on it, click on AI. Taylor, did you know about this? I think it's a newer thing. I never noticed it.
I've seen it in Creative Design Studio too.
Yeah, I saw it too. It must be new, and they didn't really make a big deal about it, but I think it's awesome because that's the reason I don't write a lot of stuff in my newsletter usually, because I'm not good at using AI, y'all. The world keeps trying to get me to use it, and I'm like, I don't want to use it because I've just my whole life had to come up with every writing prompt myself, you know? So I'm coming to terms with it. And this little tool is pretty cool because you can choose like how you want it to say it. I personally like the very casual option because I think sometimes it just sounds friendlier, and we're in the business of being friendly. But if you're an agent who's, wants to be very, very professional with what you put in here, then choose the formal or neutral way of writing things. I don't want it to be too long, so we could play around with this. They give you some tips for like how to create, what to put in here to prompt it. Taylor, this is still showing up in my video, right? Okay. Okay, so here I'm going to ask Taylor. Taylor, what should I tell this AI chatbot about a January newsletter?
Intro for January newsletter for real estate. I mean, you could do something very broad like that.
For Charlotte real
Yeah,
estate?
Charlotte, Carolina.
Lower rates.
What?
Say something about like start of the new year.
It's the start of yesterday when I was playing with this, I even asked it about like include some market trends, and it tells you not to do that because it really isn't good at figuring out market trends, but it was okay. It was just very generic, very, very generic.
You gotta think, what, 80% of people don't even read the email?
Yeah, but if I keep this short, okay, so let's see what it comes up with, y'all. Okay. Hey, Charlotte, can you believe it's already January? Time flies when you're having fun and maybe battling snowpocalypses. Okay, we're going to have to take that out because we don't have. But one thing's for sure, a new year always feels like a fresh start, whether you're dreaming of more space, a backyard for the kids, or that perfect downtown loft. We're ready to help you make those real estate dreams a reality. Exploring new trends, sharing insider tips for making the most of 2023. Woo! It's behind on its dates.
Yeah, so it must be behind on what information you're pulled.
Yeah. So what I did was when I did this, I just took what it said. Now I could change it like to medium if I wanted more text. But you can't change it here. You have to actually insert it into your thing. Yours said something different? It's going to always say something different.
No, but I was just working on it. Didn't say that.
Oh, no. Okay. So that's pretty cool that I can just ask AI to like come up with something. Obviously, I'm going to have to read it and change it. And yeah, I would change more about this, but you guys get the gist. Here's where you could edit it. Let's check my button here. All components in block. How's my button? Okay. The button does not have a URL right now. So if you want that button to be there and you want it to have a URL, you have to tell it where to go. Otherwise, the button's just not going to do anything. So I'm going to get my URL to make that button go to my website. This is pretty advanced, huh, guys? And I don't like the color of that button. I'm going to make it gold. And then obviously I told you guys about like this background color. We can change that. If you want every button and every background color to be the same, I just copy this little code here for the colors. And then I can make this button have that color by putting it in here. But you got to do it for every button.
Oh, you can do it on global too.
Change the button?
Yeah, all of them.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Button background. Yeah, I forgot about that.
You just have to do one by one.
Yeah, that's dumb. Okay. Thank you, Wendy, for reminding me about that. Yeah, so now all my buttons are cute and matching. Okay. Now, let's get into the listings. I'm going to go into Matrix. I'm going to get some MLS numbers. I know you guys couldn't see me do that, but that's what I was doing. And once I add these listings, it's going to, again, I believe it's going to link to my stuff. Block image. No, I still have to put, you still have to put the URL in there if you want this picture to go to your website. And in order to go to that particular house, so if I want people to click on 1654 Scotch Pine Lane and go to 1654 Scotch Pine Lane on my website, I have to find that listing. Oh yeah, sorry. I wish I could figure out how to, yeah, like just go wherever you are, but sorry. Okay, so I got to find Scotch Pine Lane, but it's probably going to be buried down. I mean, I know I could probably do it up here somehow. Oops. View all. So because this takes a little bit of time, I'm probably only going to do it for one of these guys. Yeah. Christina's had this listing for a while, so it's probably kind of far down here. I'm sure there's a better way to do this, but there it is. Oh, on the address thing. Yeah, I could do that. All right. Well, now I've finally got the URL. I could have done that an easier way, but okay. Then I'm going to go back to OneSuite. Then I'm going to go back to you guys. Okay. So now I'm going to make sure that it goes to that URL. Oh. Why am I not in OneSuite? Okay. And I would have to do that for the other button as well. Always make sure you click OK. All right. Now, I will show you what I do here with the what's my home worth link. So first, I need to change this text. And I'm going to make it way bigger. Oh, way bigger.
No, that's my little like. Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm working on right now. So I had to go into that block, Angela, and I had to change the text because it's all just like Latin.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
I did that.
Okay, so changing the text. So now I have to find a picture to put here. So I'm going to have to find something to stick there. I think I have a bunch of pictures saved here of houses or something. Oh, I think this is one I used previously. There's a magnifying glass in the house. And what I'm going to want to do is make sure the image and this button are going to go to the what's my home worth. Ooh, did I lose my, nope, that's what I want. Scotch Pine Lane website, share. Okay, so I'm just going to go to the home page here of my website. You can always get back to the home by clicking your beautiful face. Okay. Where's my home? Oh, sorry, it's up at the top. What's my home worth? Okay. So just click on your what's my home worth URL. Okay. So all you need to do is take this URL. Now I got to share something else. Sweet. Share. Okay. Now I'm going to plug that in here for these. So the block image is going to go to this URL. Click OK. All components in block. I want the button to also go there. Okay. I also think that I want that button to be in the center. And I'm okay with all of that.
Okay, so I could just get that from the internet.
Okay. So now in this section, when people are reading through here, they could wonder what their home is worth. Either click the picture or the button, and it will go to my landing page where they can then put in their address. Does that make sense? Okay. Now these two items at the bottom, actually, I'm going to rearrange those. I'll move this one up because I always want my email signature to be at the bottom. I'm not doing all three of the other listings, guys, because it's just going to take a while. But you do have to put, like I said, you have to link the property and then link your page on those two pictures and buttons. Okay, so I feel okay about this. Like, obviously, if I had unlimited time, I might go back and make this a little bit bolder, easier to read. I'm obviously going to, check on my AI writing and maybe make a few more changes. But yeah, I just wanted to show you that you too could create a completely different newsletter if you did not care for the one that we create, or you're just feeling creative this month and you want to do your own. I'll send myself a test email to check all of the pictures, the buttons, make sure they're going to the right spot. And obviously, I'm going to save this, save and close. Okay. And you know that you can also share these things that you create here. Let me click on this to fix something. Hold on. I don't have my share button for that one. I'm going to edit it. I wonder why this one doesn't have the social media share button. I must have done something wrong because the other one does. Like, see this little share button, guys? I don't know why some of them haven't. Maybe if it has to be, what's that little thing do? That doesn't do anything. Well, this little share button, when I can figure out how to get it on there, allows you to share the newsletter to your social media. So you would click share. You would say share on Facebook or share on whichever other one you want to share it on. And then it will post it for you on Facebook. So that was a lot. Does anybody have any questions?
You're amazing. It was perfect.
But I just think, like, once you get used to doing this, you do it a couple times, or maybe you build your own, newsletter the way you like it with the blocks that you want. I mean, then every month it's just kind of like plug and play. It wouldn't take you this long every month to do it. And especially if you're using the one that the company makes and you're just changing a few items, I mean, that's like a no-brainer, just send it out. It's obviously 100 times better than doing nothing. So that's it. If there's no questions, this is recorded, so you guys can go back and look at it again and build it on your own time. But I highly encourage everybody next year to really get in the habit of sending something out every month. It doesn't have to be a newsletter. I mean, with OneSuite, you can also just blast your sphere of influence with your new listing. You know, you can just send a listing flyer from there. Or if you're having an open house and you want to invite everybody you know, you could do that in OneSuite as well. This is just a way to build a customized letter, and it takes a little bit longer, but the sending, the blasting, the listings, and the open house, that's like click, and it's gone out to everybody. So thanks for coming, everybody. And did anybody on this call have any questions about anything? Thanks for coming, guys. I know it's a lot.
Thank you, Allison.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Sad I didn't get to see you, Frank. You came to the
Yeah,
wrong
I went to the wrong office.
I usually do these kinds of like tech trainings in this office because it's just kind of like cozier and it's easier for people to see the TV. But
Next time.
next time, I'll catch you next time.
Take care.
All right. Bye, everybody.